Yo, what is good, my anime people? What is good, yo? So, I was pleasantly surprised by this week's episode of Immortal Blade, which I don't think anybody else should be surprised that I'm surprised by it because we just don't get stuff like this anymore. And when we do, it's usually occasions that everybody in the whole community has already gotten word of, something like this coming soon. And what I mean by that is we've seen, um, we've seen a big talks about Goblin Slayer and um, something else came out, like Berserk. Those are two big shows that are pretty gruesome in their own rights, regardless of how the animations are. The overall storytelling itself is more gruesome almost than the violence that's shown the on the animation and stuff. So this show is kind of that same. It's a little bit of both, right? Like it's not afraid to really sell you on the plot of misery and true sadness and what people actually experience compared to you know kind of trying to spell out what they've been going in through but not really getting fully into it. These people don't hide any detail about it. So that's just how it's been going down within this show, and they don't hold back. No bars holding back, and it's one of those things where it's nice to know there was people, not only bringing light to dark, but they're not they're not showing it in the sense of like glorifying it, you know what I mean? Like if they really wanted to, they could have showed everything they want down to the details, seeing how they have all this freedom, but they're not. They're not explicitly showing anything. They're just telling you, yes, it's already happening, and yes, it is happening probably whenever we're not even seeing certain characters, like prostitution and stuff like that. So it's these notions that truly bring out the dark in the actual world itself, and then you can then look over to the man who has worms that are supposedly like just reforming his body. Like they're literally taking two different limbs and eating and put reforming themselves. Like it looks and sounds disgusting, and you got to imagine this man probably reeks. So um, it's a very very cool story. Not only is it really cool, this is kind of the only way for anime to get to be like, hey, we were like this, a time ago. Like this is what we were, and this is what we did, and that was being way over the top with blood and way over the top with dismemberment because in the world of samurais to say now that samurais in these days are fighting people and they don't cut limbs or they just slice you and you bleed and then you can still fight for another hour, um that is like the biggest insult to their like their actual strength behind their slashes and their actual precision of where they would attack to disarm somebody. They're not going to keep the fight going as long as possible. When I heard of samurais, or when I've seen true documented stuff of samurais, they don't waste any time. Like they want it to be over as quickly as possible. That's why it's just like cowboys when it comes down to the draw. Like cowboys weren't, or like outlaws and whoever was doing it, when they were doing the draw shots, they weren't like, oh, I'm gonna. So, some people were shooting them in the hand because they were that good. They're just like, I'm not gonna kill you, boy. I'm gonna let you live so you can know defeat. And then that same guy they were trying to shoot in the hand, if they weren't good enough to beat that guy, he was aiming for a headshot. Because in Red Dead Redemption 1, that was an actual game mode, and I'm aiming for a headshot. You can shoot my hand. Sure, buddy. I'm gonna pick that gun up and shoot you in your head. No, but that's one of the things that samurais were known for, in my opinion. Like, from what I've heard or from what I was actually inspired by, was how ridiculously, like, surgical they were. Like, they were ridiculously broken. And I think one of the better shows that give you this example is Samurai Champloo, where they hold no bars back to prove the point of how good of samurais those characters are, or how just ridiculously talented they are. And if you keep crossing them, you will not live to see a day, let alone if you're lucky enough to somehow survive attack from them. So to think anybody's coming out alive is dumb, and that's what this show shows. When it came down to me reviewing the first two episodes, I was kind of mad that they would stab somebody and be like, well, it's all she wrote, and then just let their guard down and stuff. But then in my mind, I'm like, these are ridiculously broken samurais who are taking on, you know, masters of their crafts and slapping them. So it really doesn't defeat the purpose of them still letting their guard down when they've beaten someone much stronger or much more talented than the person they just slayed, who's immortal. And not only is that the case, they're not in like a setting where everybody's on edge and there's like 100 other people behind them. They're alone and they know what death should be, and it's just not for this guy. So to see this girl absolutely destroy him because she does not care about anything but getting this done on him, right? Like getting this overall job complete for now, because not only is she paid by someone she's like attracted to or was attracted to, she is also in a position where she just wants to be acknowledged and wants to see what would come from completing a task from a person she would have had more resolve doing anything she was doing that she didn't like. She would have had more resolve doing it if it was for him and he told her to do it. So that seems like a powerful way of saying I love you and I would do anything for you, in my opinion. So when it comes back full circle and she's still doing whatever he wanted her to do for a chump change. I think 15 Rio is not a lot of money. I mean, back then it is, because it could probably get you to sleep in a place for a day and some food, so that's pretty decent. But in the end of the story, where this immortal guy is like, well, finally, he's like, I would say I'm gonna level up and do all this and fight you to the, bitter end, but I've been trying this whole time and I'm still getting slapped. Like that was good. I was like, okay, like clearly you're the immortal blade. You're not the most talented blade. You're just immortal. That's the one thing that makes you different from these god tier characters that are going to continuously probably have the upper hand on him, unless we get some like training from him, or maybe him being like, I never wanted to use actual techniques anymore. That's why I have all these crazy weapons, which he actually tells us that he has what, 70% of one-handed weapons. So for a samurai, you're supposed to have usual samurai swords are like two-handed long samurai swords. So that's another like disrespectful thing that if he's acting as if he is a samurai at any times, and he has all these other blades, that would be disrespectful to their code of honor and stuff. They only use one blade, and then they have that little blade to commit Sudoku or something like that. So, or to be a cheapskate like Mugen. But yeah, I definitely, highly, sorry. I recommend this show. It's 3 episodes right now. It is a recreation, so if you're watching it and you're getting kind of antsy, be careful, because you might just spoil yourself with the old show. I did see a picture, like someone used just a cover art or some type of art of the Immortal stuff, and I saw people in there that I didn't want to see just because of that, you know? So just be careful. There's a lot on this because it is very old, but overall, this story, or moral of this episode anyway, is even though he's undying, he's probably in the worst position to be fighting these people because he's going to learn new pains that he's maybe felt before, but just he's gonna probably feel it more continuous, or more consistent. But if this is his true skills and he's been trying this hard and he was absolutely wrecked by this woman, I don't know how they're going to raise him up or how they're going to um, conveyed how he's possibly going to be able to. I mean, sure, you can let the people wail on you until they get tired or something like that. Like, oh man, my back, I just threw it out from beating the crap out of you. And now you have an opening. Ah, you stabbed my heart. You know, like, if that's the whole entire show, I I don't think it would have so much praise. But hey, I'm just guessing. It could be the whole show, and it could be absolutely amazing how they sell it. So let's give it a chance. But with all that being said, I hope you guys have an amazing day, night, evening, whatever the case may be. I am your boy, the Anime G, and I will definitely talk to you in the next one. So with that, peace.